What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the JPC Frequency Podcast. Today I got a special guest from my hometown. He made the trek up here to Austin. Kris Perez, how's it going, brother?
Doing good, man. How you?
Let me give you a round of applause. Hold on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like it.
Damn, man. Well, thank you for doing this. We've been trying to set this up for a while now.
Yep.
We made a trip back to Lubbock, but we kind of missed each other. So
Yeah, we both got real busy.
it happens. Family, you got to go see family, make your rounds, especially when you're married or you're in a relationship, you got to go see their family.
Yeah.
So it's like, which is your family, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, all right, man. Let's go ahead and get a background on you so that way everybody knows. And of course, I'm going to have all of Chris's Instagram, YouTube page, everything, all his socials, so that way you could follow. But you're a twofer because you tattoo artist
Yeah.
and just, I guess, regular artist, all around artist.
Yeah.
And then you're a fitness guru. Is that what you call yourself?
I don't even know what I call myself. Like, I'm just here, just let's do it. Let's work out.
You're a
Let's
health
do it.
nut.
Yeah, there you go. That's a better way. I like that.
Well, so we planned on doing this whole thing, right? My man's a tattoo artist, very talented, and we're gonna, showcase some of his tattoos, which I'm gonna get one tonight. It's happening on my ass.
Yes. On the cheeks.
He's gonna let my wife tap me up, so
Yes.
and then he's gonna give me one. But so yeah, we had planned this big thing. We were gonna do a workout. He's gonna put me through one of his training sessions. Did not make it.
No, we did not
make it. Yeah, I guess so. They got in last night. We cooked out at our pool. We had a good time, vibing hard.
Yeah. No music.
No music on at all. Like I think we're being like complete ladies and gentlemen out there.
Very. And yeah.
Got the cops called on us. We shut it down. No, but we had a great night last night. Got kicked out. It was a little whack, but I mean, I get it. Whatever. It's not like we were partying on a Tuesday. It was Friday night.
Yeah. Even the cop didn't even understand why that I was being called.
Yeah, he was like, I have no idea. You guys are literally chilling by a fire.
Yeah. We felt so bad that we wanted to actually make him something to eat.
I was like, you want a burger, bro?
Yeah. And he was low key just thinking like,
But shout out to that cop though.
absolutely. Absolutely.
The guy was super cool. He's like, hey guys, just wrap it up a little bit. Be quiet.
Yeah. Like, it's Friday. Why am I here?
So anyways, we planned this workout. Last night happened. We had a lot of fun. Didn't make it, but we did do a hike.
We did. That hike was beautiful. I could not stop taking photos out there.
I know, Instagram
gorgeous.
model out there, dude.
It was beautiful. I was like, man. Beautiful.
Dude, it's one of those things. Like I love Lubbock for my family and my friends, of course. Miss you guys. But dude, I don't know if I'd ever move back. Maybe when I'm old, like I'm like settling down.
See, that's what a client of mine actually said. She was like, to live in Lubbock is useless. To die in Lubbock makes sense. Because it's so dead out there. She was like, if you're going to die, this is the dark part.
This is where you come to die. Sorry, Lubbock. We still love you, but I mean, I'm not coming back anytime soon. I'm going to lose all my Lubbock fans, like half my fan base.
Or they're going to understand and they're going to be like,
dude,
yeah, this guy's speaking truth. Fuck this place.
Dude, I mean, Austin's just so cool. Like literally the trails, we got lost, y'all. Like I never really have to pull out the phone GPS. And today I was like, dude, I don't know where the hell we are.
It was, yeah, we got in the residential area, like what, 3 times over?
Yeah.
I was like, oh man.
But it's beautiful, the trail systems out here. And we had this big rainstorm the other day, a lot of water.
Yeah. That
Real
was
beautiful, man.
Oh, the algae in the lake, that was beautiful.
So
Yeah.
let's get into it, man. I wanted to start off, if you don't mind, let's talk about like the fitness aspect, because that's something that I feel like I've been failing in. I definitely put on the COVID like 30. Haven't lost any. Getting heartburn, just real unhealthy
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to talk to you, kind of maybe inspire me and others to get active, just to do something.
Absolutely. So actually, I mean, I worked out a lot. I was in sports most of my life, but it was probably when I worked in the prison is when I was like, you know what? I got to get ripped. If not, I'm going to get stabbed, And that was enough motivation to be like, you got to get to moving, Because there was like everyone that I worked with, they were like maybe 400 pounds plus, and like, who's going to save them? You know what I mean? Like,
damn,
it's a lot of stress on you. Like, everyone there is like grandparents, and then they're just like trying to make a buck. And you're like, damn, if a fight goes out right now, I'm going to be sadly responsible for that,
Yeah.
So I think that's what definitely pushed me to start working out even more.
How old were you when you were working there?
So I was actually 21. I celebrated my birthday in there. And it was so funny because the inmates, I don't even know how they knew, but they even told me happy birthday on my birthday. I was like, okay.
The inmates?
Yeah, I was like, okay, thank you.
Kind of scared that when I was born, but
yeah, exactly. Like, what do I say? Like, oh, that ain't my damn birthday. Get out of here. Like,
no, you got me mistaken.
Yeah, like, no. But those guys, it definitely changes your aspect and things. Because whenever I first got there, I was a jerk. I was a real bad jerk. But after a while, and this is actually what pushed me to almost feel very superhero in a way, because there was a really, really rough time when I was there. And this guy, I mean, he was a little slow, but he was a grandpa, He worked in the oil field, and one of these pipes hit him in the head, and they didn't pay for anything. So he had to work at the prison.
Shit.
And he was a little, and so we got a call and this whole thing about, like the 5-man teams and stuff like that. You see them being ran. And when we went in there was another guy. He was like, man, we had the same build, same look. Like, there were so many people that mistaked us all the time. So we went in there. We were like knocking stuff down. They said that this inmate was choking his other inmate. Like, let's go. So we were huddling up in it. Well, we didn't realize that the inmate was actually on the top bed. This guy made it like look like pillows, like he was fighting a pillow. So we went in there. We were trying to get them both down. The other guy was on top of the bed. He jumps down on the last guy because usually it's a sergeant, which during that time I was a sergeant. And he got him. He got him right in the back. Got his gut, like this back area. Yeah.
Jesus. And you saw that, or?
Yeah. Sadly, I saw that. And, we had to pull him out. And that sucked. Because the day before, we were just talking about it. He was like, you don't need to be here. Like, we're dying. We're slowly dying in here with them. And he was like, you need to do something with your life. And I was like, yeah, I'll look into it, and just, knocked it off. I was like, yeah, you know what, like, you're old. What do you know, And, he was talking about, like, that year he was going to retire. And, he was going to, like, hang out with his grandkids, yada, yada. And to see this man, this old man, just in my arms, I was like, man, why didn't I do anything?
Damn, he died in your arms,
He
bro?
died. And we were driving to the emergency room whenever this was happening, and I tore up, And that's what really pushed me to be like, you know what? This man spent 30 years in there. Could have been with his grandkids. That whole entire time. But he was trying to save up money so he can actually hang out with them. Where did it go?
Jesus, bro. R.I.P., man.
Yeah.
So this is what sparked.
Yeah. That sparked everything. I was like, you know what? He was absolutely right. I was like, what can I do in this life that he took the time to not be able to do? Like, we take days for granted all the time, every single time. We feel like we're like having these days, I can't do this, I can't do that. He never missed a day, ever. And it was like, man, dude, like, this guy's, he had this injury with his head. He's a grandpa. Like, he's still coming in here every day, and these inmates respected him. But because they mistaked us, that's where it went down.
Yeah.
Because they thought he was me. He thought he was another guy. And the other guy thought that that was the other guy. And when he found out he wasn't even in that team, he felt so bad. And it was rough. It was really, really rough.
Damn. And you had been working with them for how long at this point?
So I was there for maybe about a year and a half.
So it definitely built up a relationship.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Everyone there was like, he's old. They didn't want to hang out with him. So we would every lunch sit with one another.
Were you in school at the time?
So I had actually just left tech. This is when the whole like situation with my knee happened. My kid, some crazy stuff just kept on going back to back that I was like, you know what? I guess I'll work at the prison. That I'll be able to afford it. So, and I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Damn. So you worked at the prison after your college football run.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you did play at Tech.
Yeah, and I did that for a brief time. I was actually with Tommy Tuberville for a quick second.
Oh, nice.
And he was crazy, man. That guy was drunk enough. Like, he smelled like whiskey all the time during practice. Like, it was bad.
You heard it here first. You get the tea. You get the tea
yes,
here.
Absolutely. And then Cliff came in, and he really, really fixed up that program. He did wonderful. He was great with kids. He was great with the other athletes. I mean, most of his career, he had more than just one athlete go to the NFL. I mean, that's crazy.
From Lubbock, Texas, to make it to that's pretty fire.
And I mean, everyone knows like Mahomes, but I mean, they don't ever look at the credit from that coach,
Yeah. So what years were you playing?
I played back in 2013 to 2015. The only reason why I did that to play at Tech, because I really didn't want to go to Tech. I was like, that's the last place I want to go to, And in high school, I was this size, but the whole kid situation happened. So all the teams, they just all the colleges backed out. So I was like, you know what? And the high school coach during the time, he didn't play me my senior year at all. He benched me the whole entire time. And then the one game, our last game, we were down 56 to maybe 6. It was a beat down. And he was like, all right, go in. And I was like, no, I'm not going to go in. What do you think I'm going to do? No, you know what? No, just finish the game. This is done. This is crazy. So he was like, I'm sorry. You were a great athlete, yada, yada, but I just couldn't make it because I had a kid, So I was like, you know what? I'm going to walk on at Tech. I had a buddy, Brad Pearson. He also went to Monterey and was like, come walk on with me. I was like, dude, I'm not even going to Tech. I'm at South Plains. And he was like, just do it. Give it a shot. I was like, all right, cool. So we do it. And we faked the whole transcript and everything. And then we ended up doing the whole thing. And the coach is like, all right, I'm going to have you be a linebacker. You look like a linebacker. Let's do it. So during the time, it was Jason, what was his name? Golly, I can't remember his name. He was this big old dude. He was a tight end there. And, oh my God, I cannot think of his name. Anyways, the guy's 6'7", 6'8". And he's like, you're gonna block him. I'm like, this guy just standing there is going to beat me. And I was doing really good with everyone else, but then as soon as he passed by me, I jumped as high as I could, and he just caught it with ease, and he just looked at me like I was dumb, and I was like, this is fun. But I was fast for my size, so the coach Tuberville was like, you know what, you can do kickoffs, and I'm like, all right, you know what, I'll go run for a ball. I don't. That's not too bad. So we did that and stayed on the team, and luckily when Cliff got there, I was so scared. I was like, there was so many people that Tuberville was like, we're bringing everybody on the team. Under Armour's going to pay for it. Tech's going to pay for it. Let's just do it, And yeah, there was so many people that got cut off the team. I was like, all right, this is going to be fun. I don't mind it. At least I did something, And he was like, no, you're good. I'll have you as a fullback. I was like, all right, cool. Barely got to play, but it was good to have that opportunity, and I met some amazing people in that, the only thing I got to do was kick off, but I'll take it, how many people can say they can't do that, or have done that?
Hell yeah. Just to make it. 'Cause D1.
Yes.
So,
exactly. And
People are just happy to make, like playing for some college, like 2-year college.
Yeah, and I would have took that any day as well. I mean, if South Plains had a team, I'd have been like, all right, let's do it, But I was like, all right, this is cool. Let's give it a shot.
So that ended, spoiler alert for listeners out there, in an injury.
Yes.
And that's kind of what led you to go to the prison.
Yep. Exactly.
What prison was it?
It was out there in La Mesa. It was a small little town. They promised me this whole bonus, yada yada. I was like, all right, cool, let's do it then. And I was like, man, I regret this. The money wasn't worth it. It was so bad. We got into like, oh man, my life during that time felt like an action movie. Like it was constant, like boom, 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 like fights, gas. And I was like, man, this is great. But when that experience happened, that's when it hit me like, oh, this is real life. Like people can get hurt, So that woke me up enough to be like, you know what, this isn't for me. Like I have a kid at home. I may want to have a family. Like, yeah, let's not do that, So I left there and I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to that guy. I'm going to go do anything and everything I can. I did absolutely nothing. I was like, you know what?
You took like a hiatus for a little bit?
Yeah, like I think that it just shocked me enough to where I was like, yes, I'm going to do something. And I was like,
You're 21 at the time? 21, 22? So you're probably living like partying and stuff?
Yeah.
We all do that, especially around that age.
Absolutely. And I think these kids nowadays, I mean, I give them a lot of credit because they're very serious about working out, but I'm like, you're gonna hit that point somewhere in your life.
So how did you get into like, how long did it take you to get into like actual training and getting in like back into fitness?
So working out was okay during the time. I just took over whatever notes I learned in college, in high school, junior high. Like the coaches always told us, the heavier the better. The heavier the stronger you're gonna get. Eat heavy, you're gonna grow this. You're going to be big and strong, And after a while, I was like, you know what? Like, this is hurting my joints. This is hurting like this is hurting that. I can't work out anymore. This is a lie about it. So working at D1 right after the prison, it was pretty good. I worked with a lot of therapists and stuff like that.
So what is D1?
It used to be a company in Lubbock that they had that trained kids to be prepared to be D1 athletes in a way, like basketball, football, and mostly football. But it was good. But then situation happened that I was like, you know what? I need a little bit more money. Worked at O'Reilly's and did that at like 6 a.m. And then again, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to get back into fitness. So I was working at 6. I'd leave the house at 4 to go to the gym and bust the most fastest workout I could. And again, I just couldn't do it. Everything was against me. I was like, no, how do I do this? Like I have no time to work out, It was hard labor in there. It was a warehouse. So you had to lift all the time. You had to do that. I was just like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this.
So you're getting up at 4, working out, going to O'Reilly's, lifting shit all day there.
And then just coming home and I was just exhausted, and
were you working out every day or like 4 times a week?
I was basically working out. I was working out Monday through Friday. Every time I had to go to work, I was working out. I was like, if I'm already up, I need to do it. And again, going through the motion and I was just not feeling it. I was like, but I'm here. Let's do it, And eventually it didn't become a hassle to go to the gym. I was over there. Like, no, give me a reason. Like, give me a flat tire. I don't want to go. But I'm still driving to the gym. Like, I don't want to go. I'm getting changing. And I'm like, I don't want to go. And I'm still here. And I'm like, as soon as I leave, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I came. And I'm just like, why? Why are we like that?
So you learned that from sports probably, like having to go even when you feel like shit.
Yeah. And that's where I thought it definitely came from. But, having my dad... My dad definitely motivated me. My daughter for sure motivated me because growing up, my dad was a little bit oversized. So he couldn't get in rides with me. Growing up, I was like, okay, you know, I want to do like these roller coasters and stuff. My dad's like, well, I'm gonna sit here and just I'll watch. And I'm like, well, I'm scared.
So you saw the other side of health,
yeah,
like
yeah.
kind
And
of pushing you.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? There was everything pushing me because, you know, I've always had family, friends that were like, God, your dad, your parents are so big, yada yada. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I got to be healthy for my kid too, you know? And she definitely motivated me too to be like, all right, you know, like I don't want to be stuck in a roller coaster, you know. I don't want them to be like, all right, you got to get off. You're too heavy, you know? And I was like, dang, you know? So that pushed me a little bit more too.
That's a great motivation.
Yeah, you know, cuz eventually you may or may not want to have a kid. You may have a kid. You may want to take your dogs out for a walk. You may want to take your cat somewhere, you know, and you're just like, nah, you know, I'm just going to sit here, you know?
Yeah. See, because whenever we're living at our last place, it was just hard to get out. Like, we didn't have any hiking trails like we do here, couldn't go walking. So, like, literally, my dog's just stuck in the room all day. You know, we go try to throw the ball, but, like, I'd noticed her getting fat.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, I felt bad. I'm like, damn, dude, am I going to be the reason this dog has joint problems? And,
Yeah.
you know, and, like, you start thinking, like, you know, your dog is like a representation of the owner.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
they're gonna start building your habit. So if I'm sitting on my ass all day, you know, she's gonna be doing the same thing. So since we moved here, as you can see, you know, with the trails, we try to walk every day. She's definitely lost a lot of weight. I try to do that, but that's why I wanted to talk to you, man, because I really want to get serious about it.
Yeah.
Like transform my body, because in high school you have a totally different story than me, because I played sports. I went to a 1A school, so everybody played everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, if I was gonna sum up my my high school accolades, trash. I was trash, bro. Trash in football. I loved basketball, and if my mentality would have been there, I probably would have been a lot better. But I think that where I was mentally in school, it took away a lot of things. So I didn't, you know, I didn't like peak as much as I wanted to. I felt like I was worried about other things, partying, you know.
And that's kids, you know, that's how there's nothing to do in that little area. You know, there's not a lot of activities there. So what else can you do? You know what I mean? Like, if we had trails as beautiful as they are here, people would be more active. You know, like I just driving around, you're just like, you see bikes, you see pedestrians. When you drive in Lubbock, I mean, the pedestrians are walking and people are still zooming past them.
It feels weird to see people walk in Lubbock. That's how crazy it is. Like, you see them walking around here all the time. You see somebody walking in Lubbock, you're like, why are you walking, bro?
Yeah, like what did you steal? Like, is this Avenue Q? You know, like.
So, all right, you worked at D1. Then you, is this what started the actual like fitness journey as far as like working?
Definitely.
In because now you're doing the business side, right?
Yes, yeah. So doing that had taught me that I was like, you know what, fitness again. Like I like it. You know, let's do it. So then I was like, all right. While I was at O'Reilly's, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get my personal trainer's license and I'm gonna do it. Man, there was so much stuff they taught us. And I mean, it was all anatomy. It was all this stuff. And that everyone that took it was like, well, it's easy. You know, you don't need to worry about all this. You don't need to worry about all that. But I'm like, yeah, you do. If you're going to be a great trainer, you need to worry about everything. And so I did it. I took the first test and I was like, I failed it. Second time I failed it. And I was like, man, I'm like an overthinker. I'm overthinking this whole thing. I'm like, maybe this isn't for me, you know? So I'm working out, and I'm already having people at the gym asking me like to train them, and I'm like, technically I can't train you because, you know, I'm not really a trainer. But it would just like everything I was doing right. It just was small things that I couldn't get down. So then finally I was like, all right, I'm gonna go work at, where was it? TrueFit. Man,
That's what Bodyworks turned into, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that changed everything. There was so many kids there, and that's the one thing I absolutely love about gyms is the environment. I know at the very first part of it, it's like, man, this place, I got so much anxiety. I'm like, I can't even focus on the workout. But after a while, you see these same faces, you know, and eventually you start saying, you know, like, that's a good rep. Hey, man, like, I like your shirt. I like your shoes, you know? And these people become your family in a way, you know? Like, they see you every day. They see your progress. Even when you don't, you see their progress. And I'm like, okay, I think I like this, you know? And I was there for almost about a year almost. And everyone there was just amazing. You know, the environment that we had at that gym, I was like, you know what? This is where it's at.
Which one did you work at?
I worked out at the one at 34th, and it was across the street from Costco.
Oh, yeah.
And it was such a small one that nobody ever wanted to go to. But whenever these people did come to it, man, they loved it. Families, kids, you know, we had the environment so great that like everyone was just asking about like family, friends, you know, and you're like, you don't see that at gyms anymore. You know, you see it back in the 70s, back when Arnold was there, but it didn't really exist. But I was like, man, I got to see this, you know? And when I left there, it was so heartbreaking. They were sending me like baskets. They were giving me all these types of things. They were like really, really sad that I left.
So you left on your own terms, like found a different job or?
Kind of, sort of. You know, I was kind of put in a corner because I didn't necessarily have my personal trainer's license, but I had hours working going to school for physical therapy because that's what I was planning on doing. And I was like, all right, cool, you know, and they were just like, nah, that's not enough. You're not, you know, you can't do training. You just do sales. But
you were training for a while? Like, did you get a few clients in there, or were you mainly doing sales?
Yeah, I did a few clients under the belt, you know, and these guys, they would see results, you know, and they were training with trainers there, and they would just not see anything. They would train with them for months, years, and they're just like, I don't see anything. And I was like, all right, let's do this workout. Let's do this. I'm just giving them like pointers, you know, tips, and they kind of just basically paid for my workout routine during the time. And they were like, man, like, I like this. I love it. And then I ran into some friends over there at TrueFit that just knew, they knew everything, you know, and they showed me so many things that I was taught wrong for so many years. You know, our coaches back in the time, again, they taught us push hard, you know, do this, do that. They didn't really worry too much about form. And that's what they basically taught me was form is everything. You don't have to lift heavy. Just do it right. And your results will come so fast. And that's exactly what happened. My squat levels went drastically low. Like, I was able to literally sit down on the floor with no hesitation. You know, I always said that my knees, you know, there's no way I could get down that low. And then boom, here I am doing like a Japanese sit, like it's totally fine, you know. And with the knowledge that these people taught me, I definitely was like, all right, I gotta teach this to my older, you know, people. So, you know, I was trying to show it to my dad and them because this is like some smart stuff, you know. So then as soon as I'm leaving TrueFit, I was like, you know what? I got the experience in the gym. That's an accomplishment right there. You know, I did sales, but I worked at a gym, you know. And, oh, man, that was being there, as bad as it ended, was the most greatest thing that I could have ever done.
Like, you learned a lot just picking up different tips.
So much. Because, again, I learned so much about me being there because I was like, you know what? I'm not a salesman. Like, what am I going to – I can't sell anything, you know, like –
Like, would y'all try to just sell memberships or – product in there or something?
Yeah,
like that?
It was mostly, so that was the thing, was that we would sell training, we would sell memberships, we would sell product there. And then after a while, having so many people tell me like, no, I don't want to train with these people. I want to train with you. And I'm like, no, I'm not a trainer. These are the trainers. That I was getting ridden up because these people were telling me this, and the trainers there were so mad that they were just like, no.
Started hating on you?
Yeah, it was bad.
Was it a toxic workplace after that?
It did. Sadly, it did.
Damn.
You know? And it was bad with the again, with the people that I worked with in the sales wise, because they were starting to get mad, you know? And when I was there, I got like ranked number, what was it, 3 in the state of Texas for
top
sales.
3? Hey, hold on.
And I was like, man, this is like Lubbock. I got number 3 in Lubbock, like in all of True Fits in Texas.
Oh shit! So they it wasn't just a Lubbock, but it was
all around.
That's really dope, man.
Yeah, I was like, holy moly.
Well, they look at you and they're like, oh shit, this must work.
Yeah, yeah. And then they're like, well, did you train with these trainers? Like, is that what happened? And I'm like, no, I can't lie. I'm sorry. Like, you know, that's what they were saying. Like, yeah, just say that I trained you. And I'm like, okay. And they would ask, like, did the trainers teach you? And I'm like, no. Like, I'm sorry. I can't lie to you. Like, no, this is all the stuff that I learned. So I left there. But while being there, again, I learned so much about myself that I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a tattoo machine.
So that sparked
this drive, because I was doing this for 12 hours a day. Again, working out there every day, being in that environment pushed me to be like, all right, let's go. What are you doing? You know? And everyone, all these kids, these inspirational stories that I got to hear of why these people are coming in here. I'm like, yes, this makes sense. You know, you would get the younger kids, you would get the middle-aged kids, you'd get the kids going to college, you'd get the older folks, you'd get the families. And I'm like, man, I love this. And so when I worked there, I always had them write on the sticky note. If I was like, if you're going to come here, and even if you don't come here, I want you to write your goal. And it wasn't just fitness goals. It was like, what are you going to do with your life? So I had them write it up and put it on that board. And then every day I had it all over my wall. Like, it was like the size of your room. And it was just all sticky notes of people that I helped sign up.
That's dope, man.
You know, and then when they would come over to come talk to me, I would ask them about this goal, you know, and that's where it became more personal. And again, I loved that, you know, because then whenever it becomes like somebody's keeping you accountable without even you realizing it, you know? And I think that's where everyone falls, is because most people are very prideful, you know, and when we're going through stuff, we just bottle it up, we hide, you know? But when you actually have support or just somebody you know, and then they're just like, hey, you know, like, are you still doing this? And you're like, you remember that?
Like accountability, buddy?
Yeah, you know, and they're not even realizing they're doing that to you, but you're just like, yeah, I need to get back into that, you know? They do a little spark for you. And after a while, that spark just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you know? Because it's so easy to get into bad habits. So easy. Mm-hmm. You know, and if you just get out of that, you're golden, you know? Like, my food is bad. I have no problem going to the gym. I love the gym. But food-wise, I'm like, man, Taco Bell sounds really good.
I just killed a 3-hour workout. I deserve a quesarito or something.
Yeah. I'm like, man, this is the life. But just cutting back, you know, because I would eat like 4 quesadillas, like 3 tacos, you know, try to kill 2 drinks. And then my buddy was like, nah, you know what? Like, you don't have to eat chicken and rice every day. You know, like they show in the influencer, like, this is my life, this is what I'm eating. And that's great. That's absolutely great. But you got to think of your goals, you know, and people see these people and they're like, okay, if I eat this all the time, I'm going to look like that. That's not true. We're all different. You know what I mean? Like, we are different people. So whenever you're cutting, you just start, like, take out a quesadilla, take out a taco out of your last, you know, like your meals. And it slowly changes you. Just
like proportion wise.
Okay. That's exactly what it comes down to.
That's my thing, is like I overeat. Like I'll order, like I know I don't need the super size, but I'm gonna eat it anyways. And I won't leave anything on my plate.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we were basically raised.
Oh yeah, I had to growing up.
And I mean, that made us very toxic in a way. They were like, you know what, if you eat all your food, you're gonna be big and strong. And then, you know, you're like,
I was round and not strong.
But it definitely changed it.
So you unofficially trained people, kind of like they were going through the trainers. they're like, I'm not really seeing shit. And then they would come to you and give them some tips. So after that, whenever you left TrueFit, like, is it what you're currently doing now?
Yeah. So as soon as I left TrueFit, I was like, all right, I got into tattooing. I liked it. Did it for 3 weeks. And I was like, you know what? I can go into a shop. I saw an ad on Facebook and I was like, all right, I'm going to go do it. And nobody knew I was going to do it. They were just like, what? I was like, yeah, no, I'm an apprentice now. And they were like, no way. Like, you weren't going to do that? I was like, yeah, I'm an apprentice now. So I did that. Did that for a week. And, I was like, I did tattooing. I checked that off. I've worked at a gym. Let's go ahead and be a coach. So I went over to this place that we're now called Body Blitz. And she was like, you're great. Let's do it. She showed me this whole machine. It was like crazy. Like, it reminded me of the zero gravity room in Dragon Ball.
Ooh.
That's what it reminds me of. It's so strong that there's no way you can like break it. There's guys that are just like, I can bitch like 400 pounds. And this machine, whenever you're doing it, and it's the one I'm always posting. And whenever you're doing it, like, it tells you what you really can max that out. And these guys are like, I could do like 600 plates, I could do all this and that. And they go on there and it's like maybe their own body weight.
It gives you like the true.
Yes. There's no way of hiding it. You're just like, God, maybe I am.
So what's this place called now?
Body Blitz.
Body Blitz. Mm-hmm. So for the audience, check out Body Blitz. I'm sure y'all got a website I can link up. Mm-hmm. And you're taking on clients?
Yeah.
Or?
So I went ahead and was like, let's do this training done. So my boss, Miranda, was like, I like you. I love your personality. Let's do it. Let's get you the certification to do it. And she helped me so much. And this program has also helped me out so much because everything that I learned was correct, and I saw so much results doing this than I did in the beginning. Like, I wasted almost 18, 21 years of my life working out wrong. And that's even plus after I left there. And now it's like, wow, I see results. This is what I need to be doing. And seeing these, majority of my clients are women and they're older women. So to see them come in and they're just so happy, they're giving me the biggest hugs and I'm like, why are you hugging me? And she's like, I can now squat down and hang out with my grandkids. I never would have done that.
That's
I would
beautiful.
have fallen over. I was like, man, that's great, And
so it's not even just like looks with most people. It's like, I just want to live healthier. I want to be able to do everyday things.
Exactly. And that's what really just blown it up since then. It's just everyone loves to think that they want to look like Arnold. They want to look like Sebum. They want to look like all these people. But it goes deeper than that, And then another thing, it almost blends in with the art. Like, I love art. And there's also those people that find bodybuilding as an art. Like, it's just as hard work, I think. So yeah. I think it all blended in perfect with what I like to do,
So for the listeners, what is your style? Without giving away too much of your game, but like, what kind of style do you have when you are training somebody,
So it really depends. So I, again, became the biggest fitness nut in the world. So I love certain things from CrossFit, bodybuilding, and would have to say physical therapy. And a lot of people love to think that physical therapy truly isn't like a workout. But let's say, you have a previous injury. If you do enough research in your physical therapy, that doesn't become an excuse. If you have a shoulder injury, if you do enough physical therapy before you work out, you're going to be golden, and a lot of people tend to forget that. They consider it as a stretch, but I'm like, no, like, get deep into it and that'll help you out like crazy.
Dude, I'm going to hire you on. You said you're down to do a long distance thing?
Oh, yes.
We might make that a thing. I'll do like a before, show you all my stretch marks.
Yes,
Dude,
I love
and
doing
then
that.
get me ripped by July. Let's go.
Yes. So one of my clients actually, so she's done this particular workout routine that I've had her on for maybe 4 or 5 months. She lost 22 pounds.
Damn.
And again, she's 60 years old.
What is we have people, there is no excuse, people. We saw today on the trail, there was like this older lady, and she was getting it, dude, jogging. Like we were dead tired walking this trail.
It reminded me so much of that scene whenever Chris Evans is running, on Captain America.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's like, on your left. That's how she was. She was just
Yeah,
all right.
we had to get out her way, dude.
She was getting after it. And I was like, man.
But it makes you think like there isn't any excuse, like what is my excuse, other than barring like an injury or I can't, but I think that's a good lesson is like, look, you can do it, get out there and do it. Before we moved on to tattooing, because I want to talk about that kind of, your story in that. I did want to ask you kind of, because my thing is like, what advice do you have for somebody like me to where when I get in a bad mood or like I'm in a down, how do I keep at it? Because I was getting up for a while, getting up early, working out, and I felt great, dude. Like I loved it. Work went better. Everything was just better.
Yeah.
I was focusing on the podcast more. But then I'll get in these moods and I won't do anything. And then when I miss the gym, guess what? I'm not researching for the podcast. I'm not like, it fucks up the entire day.
Yeah.
So I need to know like some good advice, like how to push through that and do it even when I don't want to.
So I feel like fitness is mostly more just health. Health is a big thing. And that's one thing that we end up forgetting is health, mental health, physical health, and whenever you're in such a negative spot in your life, that plays a big, big toll in what you're doing, and being here, I mean, man, as exhausted as I am, I'm like, you know what, maybe we can hit up the gym real quick, like it's such a positive vibe here. It's such a positive vibe. And whenever you're in a positive vibe, you want to do more. So, when you feel like that, think about the great things. Think about this podcast. Think about all of the wonderful things that you've done in your life that others down there cannot do. You know what I mean? There was a video I saw that was like, of us coming out of like, the whole sperm thing. There's millions of them, but you're here.
We're the ones that made it.
You're the one that made it. Yeah. And you're here. And what are you going to do with it? You know what I mean? Because there's millions of others that didn't make it. They didn't get the chance to do what you're doing. You're breathing. You're here. You're doing things, man. Like you were in a small town and now you're in Austin. Like there's people that have it all and they still are like, you know what, I'm just gonna like be lazy, like I'm not gonna do anything. My parents got it, whatever. But you are doing it in a way.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? You're doing great things. So whenever you do get in those feelings like I can't do it, I can't do this, I'm like, I don't want to do it. Think of how you got here. Like you're here, you're doing this, like just looking out at this balcony, I'm just like,
living in the hills.
Yeah,
now.
I'm like, let's go for another like 2-hour run again. Like,
yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Just kind of like when you're feeling down, be like, look, think of the positive, keep the positive. I think it's like getting that routine down. Once I get that routine and, wake up in the morning, from this time to this time. And that's kind of what my job's teaching me. Cause now like I work at a lot of schedules. So like every day I, from 30 minutes in the beginning of my day, I need to meet with this person so it's like, what if I should just translate that to my life? Like I'm more important than my job is, you know what I'm saying? Like my own personal life should be more important. I should schedule myself, time. So
yeah,
I think I'm really serious about doing this, man. We'll kind of keep up like a journal.
Absolutely.
I'll do some like side videos I could put on YouTube or something and like a fitness journey, but I do want to kind of get back to that. So
Yeah, and
that'd
that's
be cool.
Another thing is that like we were taught to look at the scale. Don't look at the scale. Take photos of yourself every day. You know, that way you can actually see results. Because if you look on a scale and you're like, you know what, I'm still at 220, you know, I'm still at 240, 250, you know, you could be gaining muscle at the same time. You know what I mean? You could be getting tone, but in your head, you're just like, no, that's telling me something else. I haven't done anything, you know? So definitely do that. Drink water, do your steps, you know? I mean, I used to hate when people would be like, you're not drinking enough water. I'm like, dude, I'm drinking like 4 gallons of water. What do you mean I need to drink more water?
Like more water.
Yeah. And it wasn't really that. I had enough water. But focus on your steps a little bit. Try that out, you know? With that beautiful scenery out there.
I have no excuse. I should be hiking every day in my life.
I know. You're going to get like a GoPro on your chest and just doing this and hiking. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get one for me and my dog.
Yes.
We both have GoPros.
You gotta be the next John Wick with that, man.
Hell yeah. Well, all right, man. That was cool. So let's go ahead and we'll keep this rolling. I did want to talk about the tattoo aspect, and you touched on like where it began, you know, after True Fit and whatnot. But I like that because that's some entrepreneurship, and that's what this podcast is about. Right. So you're taking 2 things you love and like, you know, just doing it. So let's go ahead and kind of give me your tattoo journey.
Man, the tattoo journey was interesting at this first time. You know, I did so much research in this YouTube videos, you know, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to tattoo on a melon. And it turns out a melon isn't close to a skin. So I did this honeydew is what they had me. That's what I was practicing with. And it shows you more of like how deep you can go and stuff like that, because I personally felt like I had a heavy hand. So just tattooing on this thing, I'm like, okay, that's where I went too heavy. You see it burst, you know, and that's a cool thing. This shows you how deep you can go. So I was doing that for a little bit, and it was Brandon's birthday or New Year's or something. And he was like, let's tattoo. And I was like, I'm not ready to tattoo. I was maybe like 3-4 months in. I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm hard on myself. So I didn't have everything, but I had the machine. So I drew it out in a Sharpie and was like, does that work for you? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, let's go. So we did it, and it came out pretty good. And I was like, okay.
Were you nervous? It was your first?
I was so
popping your cherry.
I was so nervous. I was like, I looked back at it and I'm so surprised it came out the way it did. Because,
you're like, be gentle.
Yes, because I was like, oh man, oh god, I'm gonna mess it all up. And it came out really good. And I was like, all right, I can do this. So I got this guy. And I will never forget. I should have said no. I should have just, you know, shouldn't have even hinted at the idea. We were drinking, and he was like, all right, tattoo me. Well, he was drinking. I wasn't really drinking. But he was like...
Good save.
Yeah, no. He was like, tattoo me. And I'm like, okay. You know, I've done... At this point, I've already done like 3 tattoos. I was like, I got this.
Okay.
So he was... drunk, didn't drink any water, you know, so I'm tattooing him, and that plays a big part in tattooing. During the time I didn't think nothing of it, but it does. I was tattooing him, and the ink would not stay, and I'm just like, oh my god, like what is going on, you know? And when I was tattooing him, I just kept going over and over and over and over, to where finally I was like, you know what, this will work, you'll be all right. I wrapped him up, let it be. Next day, he's just bashing me. He's like, oh, man, that tattoo didn't stay, yada, yada, like you're crap, whatever. And that scared me. That scared the crap out of me, because I was like, you know what? Maybe I cannot tattoo. Tattooing is not for me. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Never again.
Yeah. And then that's what led me into, like, personal training. I was like, all right, I'll just, you know, I'll just get over it. You know, that's not for me. And... a little bit later, I was like, all right, I got this. Got into the shop, showed him my work, and he was like, I like it. And I was like, all right, I can do this again. You know, let's give it a shot.
What shop was it?
It was Black Dahlia during the time. I think it still is. But man, being there, I learned so much from this guy. And I wish I could remember his name. And every time it makes me so mad that I can't remember his name because he was like a guru in this. And he was just like, dude, you're going to mess up. It's fine. Like, don't put the weight on your shoulders like that. Like these guys, and in our heads, we think that, like $75, $85 is a lot. But if you look at it, people spend that eating out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like some people
spend it at the bar.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, so in the end, it's not that bad. It'll be all right. Like you can cover it up and stuff like that. So while he was teaching me, because the shop owner was always busy, that's a whole different thing. But he was like, you'll just teach yourself. You'll learn eventually. I was like, well, I don't know about that. So then the guy he brings in is like showing me more things than I would have ever known. He was telling me like placement. He was showing me how to do stencil work. He was showing me how to like which brand is great for you, what you need to be doing. Like, are you heavy-handed? Are you light-handed? If you're light-handed, do this. Great guy. And then we were doing these tattoos, and right before he left, because he had to go back to Midland for some reason, he was like, take pride in your work, though. Whether it's bad, whether it's good, this is the one thing that's going to stay with them for the rest of their lives. Even if when they die, that tattoo's going to be on their body. So I was like, you know what? This man's absolutely right. So I was like, all right, cool. Left that shop, but still kept going. Still kept tattooing.
So so you went to the shop after your first tattoo. So when you made your first one, you were just like self-taught at that point.
Yes.
And then you moved to the shop. Mm-hmm. Now you're out of the shop, but you've picked up game from homeboy there. Yeah. And that's crazy that both your stories like kind of like it's all about networking. Like you met people, they taught you shit, and then there you are.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've picked up on is you're not always right, There's always ways to improve. And that's what changed it all. So whenever somebody told me a little tip, I'm like, all right, And because when I worked at the prison, I was like, you can't tell me what to do, old man. But because he showed me that one tip in my life, I was like, all right. And I started taking notes. I started listening to what everybody had to say to me. And it meant more to me after that situation. Because how do I know I'm not going to see that? That's going to be the last time I see that person. You know what I mean? So when anybody tells me anything, I take it, I absorb that, and it becomes me. You know what I mean? Like, even if somebody's like over here telling me like, go fuck off. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to remember you like that. But, let's hope that's not the last time I see you, because everyone has such beautiful lives. Whether we think we're going through a really bad time or not, we all have stories, and if anytime you could take up just a quick second to listen to it, just thank you for sharing that with me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to take that with me.
Yeah.
Like it changes everything when everything you do matters. You know what I mean? Like when you came into town and you were doing this and that, doing this, I was like, man, that is scary, dude. Like that is.
I was so scared, like dropping the first episode.
Yeah,
because like talking about people's stories, like I'm literally capturing that. Yes. And it's like I didn't know at first what it was. Like when I started this thing, I just knew that I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
What exactly it was. And then it just turned into this. Mm-hmm. And then, now it's just like it kept growing and everybody I've interviewed's like, dude, keep going. Even if there's 10 people listening.
Yeah.
Like if I get another follower or whatever, I don't have a goal in mind of like, oh, I need 10 million followers. Like my goal is just like, it's more episode based. Make it to episode 10. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Get to episode 15 after that.
Yeah.
Maybe I get to 20. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man. And that's why I like talking to people like yourself. Cause like, this episode was a lot different because I spent the entire day with you. Yeah. So like as a guest, we got to like chill and like actually do a lot of shit. And I got to know you a little bit more and you saw how I live, here in Austin. So it was just cool, man. And like, I'm so glad you're able to come down and do this. and that you wanted to.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And I like it to be a collab. You know, I like for you to promote your things and to continue to do what you're doing, you know, because people need trainers, people need motivation. Because I don't even really think of it's just like training, like fitness. I think you're just like a guru, like a lifestyle. Like, hey, look, just let's get healthy.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it doesn't even have to be fitness health. You know, some people find tattoos therapeutic. I'm like, God damn, that shit hurts. What do you mean this is therapeutic to you? And they're just like,
They love it.
that's my health. You know what I mean? And that's what makes them go throughout the day.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I'm like, what?
So keeping it on tattoos, were you like a pretty dope artist prior? Like, how long had you been like drawing? I don't know how that is. Like, do you like start drawing first or like sketching or like?
So, man, everyone always told me it was because I was left-handed. They were like, you're gifted like that because you're left-handed. And I'm like, okay. Then if it's a gift, why waste it? You know? So I just kept doodling and kept drawing, you know? And I was too prideful to actually take art classes. So I did it in high school. And luckily the teacher that was there was the same teacher that was showing me back in elementary school, like little things to do, you know? But he also knew that I was a little bit more advanced at that age. So when I got into high school, he was like, dude, you can do better than this. He knew I was drawing like just to get 100, you know? And he was like, no.
So you had somebody push you into the art too?
Yes.
It's the same cycle, bro.
Yeah,
I love it.
you know? And then so I'm like, again, but I was so stubborn that I was like, I don't need to learn anything from you. I'm self-taught, you know? And as soon as I got out of high school and all this stuff started coming down on me, it became therapeutic to me. You know, if I'm going to be in the room doing absolutely nothing, if I'm going to be thinking just I want to be lazy, then do something. Do anything. Like,
did you do a lot of paintings?
I did a few. I'm awful at painting. I'm not going to lie. I love pencil work. So doing pencil work, I was like, you know what? It's kind of like tattooing. You know, like I think that painting is it's its own little category. I don't even like that is art, absolutely, but painting is hard. Like that is you cannot like, you know, erase it. You gotta like you just gotta work with it.
Dude, I couldn't do any of that. Like my handwriting is garbage, bro. I wrote like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, you don't want to see my signature. It's like a doctor's like signature. It's just I think it's like got like a Z in it and then like all types of random stuff.
So to catch us up to now, are you working at a shop? Or are you now just like on your own?
I'm on my own. And I would honestly say it has removed the stress, you know, of tattooing. So at the shop, it was very much, you know, like blaring music. Like it was like music I don't even like, you know, like some rap artists that I never heard of, rock that was just way too loud, you know, like, and I couldn't even focus on the tattoo either. But tattooing at my place, you know, it's very, or wherever I'm at.
So they come to you, or do you do like?
I definitely do both. Yeah, I'll do both.
Keep that in mind, Lubbock. This man will come to your crib and tattoo you up.
Absolutely.
Let's plug you up then. So how can they reach you?
So they can reach me at my Instagram. It's Kristopher Mana, or they can reach me up at Facebook, which is Kristopher Flying Hawaiian Perez.
Hey, Flying Hawaiian.
Absolutely.
Dude, we got to bring this up because I get it sometimes, but I bet you get it like 10 times more. They call us Jason Momoa.
Oh, absolutely.
But you are the Jason Momoa, bro.
Man, I get that so much, and I'm just like, I don't even know what I used to be like. I didn't know what to tell them. So when they would be like, "Do you know who you look like?" and I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "How much do you get that?" I'm like, I get told I could look like Thor all the time.
They're like, what? No,
yeah,
wrong guy.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like, what?
Like Aquaman, bro.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I get that a few times.
That's funny.
Man, it's so weird because we were at ACL a year ago, and this guy, he was at a Wrangler station. He was an amazing guy. Like I loved his vibe. His aura was beautiful, man. And the first time I met him, he was like, dude, you look like somebody I know. I'm going to figure out what show it is, but you look like somebody I know. And I was just like, I already know what he was thinking, and I didn't want to say it. And I was like, man, when you find out, like, let me know, you know. And didn't even want to say anything about it. And he just gave us these pins, and he was just such a nice guy. So the next day we went back, they had different pins, and he was just rushed me and all of my face and was like, this is the guy you look like. And it was it was Jason Momoa and C. And he was like, that's the guy you look like. That's the guy, that one right there. And I was all like, yeah, I get that every now and then.
He found you. He had to find you the next day.
And I was like, yeah, I get that every now and then. And he was just like, and you didn't say anything? I was like, I wanted to see if you were for real. But he remembered us. I was like, okay, that's cool. And, you know, looking like the way I have has been interesting because we have talked with artists that I never was like, they probably would have never realized if it wasn't with the beard or the hair. They would have been like, next, you know? So whenever we saw Blue October, they were just like, oh, we're going to, you know, sign some stuff at the end. And we didn't think nothing of it. We were just going to the restroom because we were like, you know, and they ended up starting this line and we were like, what are these people doing? Well, it turns out they were going to do signs afterwards. And when we met them, they were like fanning over this whole situation. They were like, dude, you need to look like Jason Momoa. Like,
We gotta did they get a picture with you?
yeah, they were all like, dude, have you seen this show, this show, this show? And I'm like, I don't even know that much about that guy to say I've seen that show. And he was like, you need to watch it. You need to watch it. I'm like, okay, cool.
So wait, you are Hawaiian?
Yes.
Like, are you Hispanic and Hawaiian? Or
Yeah,
okay.
I'm definitely half. So that's one of the things. Coming out here, they were very much about not teaching us the language. My dad was very much like, nah, you're Hispanic. I'm Hispanic. You're Hispanic. And it's my mom that's Hawaiian. So they were like, you're Hispanic. And I'm like, okay.
Do you know Spanish?
Absolutely not.
Me neither. Yeah. We're disgraces to our family, bro.
I know Puerto el Baño, you know? You know, and that's not going to give me anything. But yeah, he was like, no, you don't need to be knowing that. And now, growing up, I'm like, you know what? I need to know it. You know, same thing with Spanish. I need to know about my past if I'm going to move forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like looking at all this research and the Hawaiian culture is so sad in a way, man. Like whenever we were looking at all this stuff, you know, they got the whole thing with Mauna Kea. You know, it's a mountain out there that they're trying to build a NASA telescope, and it's on sacred land. And it's like, man, like, and then we find out like the U.S. invaded Hawaii, and this was like kind of recent. Like, it was in the past like 100 years, but that's still pretty recent. Like
100 years is like not.
Yeah, so it's still going on, and you know, it's so sad to see, but it's crazy because looking up in all this research in it is just crazy to see how understanding they are, you know, and it makes sense to like, because if you look back in your past and your people before you, it oddly rubs up on you as a person now, you know. When people think of like Hawaiians being friendly all the time, like that's all I got every time when I was at the gym. They're like, "Why are you always smiling?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like it's a beautiful day." Like, yeah. They're just like, "Why are you always happy?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like,
honestly, whenever I first met you, it's kind of what I thought. I was like, "This dude's just like jolly."
Yeah, exactly. But then like when I'm working out, then everybody's like, "Nah."
You get the me mug when you're working out.
They're like, "Yeah," and everyone's like, "What is this guy listening to?" Like he must be listening to Tech Nine or something like that. And I'm like jamming out to the new Taylor Swift album, and just they're like.
Is that what you were listening to? That's a segment. I'm gonna start doing that as a segment. What's in your earbuds whenever you're working out?
Yes.
So Taylor Swift for real?
I will jam out to some Taylor Swift.
Okay. I'm not gonna judge you. I mean,
yeah, you know, The Rock. If The Rock could come out and say he likes it, then I'm like, yeah, I mess with her every now and then. You know,
I definitely don't want to piss her fan base off. Taylor, you're doing great. Like
yes, maybe cut down on those tickets though. But
I know, right? I'm never gonna see you live. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like unless she goes to ACL, we might. But
I'm gonna wait till she's 60.
Yes.
Catch her on the reunion tour. No, those would probably be more.
Yeah, they probably would. Like Elton John right now. Yeah. Like, oh man, I wish I would have been able to see him. Gosh.
Well, damn, dude, this has been fun. You like it? How do you feel about the pod?
I like it. I love it.
It's weird. It's weird being on camera and like all your shit's recorded, but it's you get used to it.
And I was over here thinking I was gonna be used to it just because I record all my workouts, but then I look over here and I'm like, this is actually like a real setup. You know, I'm used to looking at a little black square, and I'm just like, it'll be all right.
Well, you're in like your office whenever you're doing that. This is like something like a totally new environment.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you, man. Let's get some more plugs. So Lubbock, Texas, for sure. Check them out if you are looking to get healthy, or if you want to get tatted up, or both. Do both. Get healthy and then get tatted.
Yeah, I mean that's a beautiful combination right there. Yeah. You know, like
we got some big plans tonight. We are going to be traveling to San Antonio to see my boys at Medusa Complex. Shout out to them.
Absolutely.
They dropped a single, Self Harmony, and we're gonna catch them at the Pink Zeppelin. So that's gonna be awesome. We're literally leaving the studio, my apartment, headed there now. And then we're going to come back and get tatted up. So
yeah, we are.
It's going to be great, man. Anything else you want to say? Any other plugs or any words of encouragement?
Just, I hate to say it, it's very Shia LaBeouf, but just do it. You know, like,
yes, dude,
do it. You know, like I wish I had.
You heard it here first. Just do it.
Just do it. Absolutely.
Well, Kris, I thank you, man.
Absolutely.
And to all my listeners, YouTube viewers, whatever, thank you for tuning in to The Frequency.
Yeah.
Peace.